Hey guys, look who's here! It's Zoe! Hey guys, it's Chelsea from the Smart Cookie Files, and today I'm doing my October wrap-up and November TBR.
I used to have so many missed calls. Now I just sit around and miss your calls.
So, the first book that I read in October that I liked was Lose Weight Like Crazy, Even If You Live a Crazy Life or Have a Crazy Life by Autumn Calabrese. And I really thought it was worthwhile that I purchased this, and that I am excited that I'm going to start figuring out my meal plan, and then I actually am going to do it for 30 days starting next week. But I really feel like this is a really good resource. Her story was incredibly inspiring, and I just found out more about her that I didn't know from doing, even though I've done many of her Beachbody programs. But her story was really, to me, it was very moving. And then her knowledge of nutrition and paired with exercise was also important and educational, and I really liked this book. So I definitely recommend you should check that out if you're looking to eat better and be healthy. And also if you want to read an inspiring story. Okay. Before I get to this book, what do you want me to talk about? I guess I'll talk about the book I don't like first and then go back to a book that I did like. Alright, so this I read, Youre Not the One by Jenna Forte. Decent book. Not gonna say that it wasn't like a good book, but it could have been a great book if it had certain things. The things that I didn't like about this book: a brand new character is introduced at the end, which leaves the entire plot with no resolution. The main character is unrelatable, to me anyway. She just basically has sex with every guy she meets, and nothing against that way of life, but she just, her whole identity was tied up to being in a relationship. She didn't have anything that she personally was trying to achieve or that she was interested in, like not even a hobby, nothing. Her hobby was getting a boyfriend, and I don't relate to that. As a woman, I don't relate to that type of character. The college boyfriend in this book, I skipped every chapter that featured him because he was just a jackass, and I don't like the way, like, maybe that means that part was written well, but right away when I read a little bit of his section, I was like, I don't like this guy, and I just was like, I'm not reading any parts about him, because this book, as I said in my TBR, it's written where she kind of like, it shows her in the past, it shows her in the present, and then it shows her in what might have been with each of the guys. And I really was excited about that idea, but then it wasn't how I wanted it, because literally as I said, the entire plot ends up having no resolution at the end. Like, you don't know who she chose, and then also, like, are you just gonna choose to just be yourself and like learn more about yourself and maybe develop yourself instead of being tied to a relationship? You don't know that. And then the things that I did like, though, is that the romance and the dating was realistically written, even though it was based on where it's like a fantasy of what might have been, but the overall, like, writing was really realistic, and then it was well written, like, as a book. But I just had so many issues with the main character that I had trouble following through. And basically I skimmed to the end and was very disappointed that it had no real ending. So yeah. The last book that I read in October I was trying to read The Marshall Plan by Olivia Ard again, but I ended up just reading 72 pages into that, and then decided to read one of my favorites, which is Just One Wish by Jeanette Rallison. And this book, once again, was a great reread. It's a good story with a lot of heart, and then also a magical aspect as well. And then for me, I relate to the meeting of the famous actor and like the interactions, because I've had a lot of interactions with famous people, so I related to that part of it. But outside of that, like, I just really like this book. It's funny and it has a lot of heart, and Jeanette Rallison was always one of my faves. Okay, now let's get to, before we get to the TBR, I'm going to talk about my book mail that I got today. I got Beekeeper by Blake Auden. He's a poet on Instagram. I'll put his info in the description box, but you can check him out from there. But he's awesome, and he has a lot of followers, and his poems are so, like, they're very, like, short, but, like, they cut you wide open. Like, when you experience them, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, that's my book mail. I got that book straight from England, from Blake. So my TBR for November. I'm going to finish The Marshall Plan. I'm going to reread it by Olivia Ard. And then This Dread Road, the last book in the series. I never read this one, so I look forward to finding out how the series ends. And this is the thickest one in the collection that I have, so be interested to see how the story finishes out with those characters. I'm going to read Lecrae's memoir, I'm Restored. I'm going to read another poet, His Green Eyes, Cheyenne Bluett, or Bluett. And then Bright Yellow Sunshine is her newest one, and I'm going to read that one as well. But I already was looking through them last night when I was like figuring out my TBR, and yeah, I was very into them. Another poetry book, Black Sheep by Watney Lander, and this is a Canadian poet that she actually has, besides her poetry account, she it's called Poet Possibilities, and she teaches like aspiring poets how to publish their own book and like how to build up your audience and things like that. I'll put all of their information in the description box so you can check those poets out. And the last book that I'm going to read in November is The Emotional Craft of Fiction. I just recently got this in my Amazon haul that I did for you guys, and I look forward to reading this to learn more of how to write emotive fiction. But that is my TBR for November. So until next time, feel free to express it yourself. Bye guys.